Well, we're going to have some fun today on Quirks, Bumps, and Bruises. I'm going to ask you this question. Who can really cook? Who can cook real food, not stuff prepackaged or in a box type food? Like no box mac and cheese, no Stouffer's frozen lasagnas. I'm talking about really, really cook. So I'm going to ask you two some questions on that, okay?
Okay.
It's going to be kind of a have you ever. All right?
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you ever made biscuits from scratch?
No.
Why would you?
Okay.
My mama makes good ones from scratch, but no.
You don't have to today.
Okay. Have you ever fried fresh okra or squash?
Fresh squash, yeah.
Fresh squash.
Okay.
Squash and zucchini, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever made a homemade soup?
Yes.
I have.
Well,
Okay.
but I use a broth as the base. Does that count? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Is that what-
we'll
okay.
we'll give you that one. Like
Okay.
you cut up vegetable. If you were making vegetable
yeah.
soup, you cut up the vegetables.
oh yeah, I make my
and-
chili and vegetable soup like that. Yeah,
Okay.
but
All
okay,
right,
then
well,
yeah.
you did. You made
All
it.
right.
Have you ever fried chicken?
Yes.
Actually, I don't think I have.
Okay. All right. Have you ever made spaghetti sauce from scratch?
No, and that's the first thing I thought of when you said cooking from scratch. I've heard it's not very difficult necessarily, but I have never made spaghetti sauce from
wow.
scratch, and I want
did,
to.
and it was horrible, so I'll never do
Oh.
it again.
I get a brand, and then I doctor it up. Of course, I don't just leave it. I spice it up the way that I like it, but I don't do the base myself.
And see, I will never make spaghetti without from scratch spaghetti sauce.
Is it time consuming or difficult?
Absolutely not. I'll teach you later.
Please do.
Have you ever made homemade cinnamon rolls?
I mean, I bake them. Does that consider?
No. And I haven't either. I've never made like where you have to actually,
I've never made bread from scratch.
Yeah.
Ever.
Have you ever baked a cake from scratch
Yes.
and not used a mix? Mm-hmm. I wish that if this were a video, that look on Gabe's face was hilarious.
I don't think.
Now, you make this delicious chocolate chip pound cake that you bring, which you haven't in a while, I might add.
And he won't share the recipe with anybody.
And
Well, that's partly because I'm embarrassed of how easy it is.
so do you use a mix?
A mix is the base.
So you've
Yeah.
never like done the flour and just made a cake from scratch?
I feel like I did at one point in my life, but
Okay.
I think I have before, but it didn't turn out
That would
good.
probably be a no.
I did, but it didn't turn out well, so I'm not doing it again.
So the same thing with a cake. Have you ever made icing for a cake from scratch?
Yes.
There's such a difference.
Oh, my word.
I've made salad dressing from scratch before.
Did I ask that question, Gabe?
No, but I'm redeeming myself, not on the icing. Give me one, Melody.
Did you use a ranch powder
No.
to make it?
I actually didn't. No.
Have you ever cooked a pot roast with all the vegetables? Like a
Okay.
real pot roast?
I
And
bought one at Walmart that had the vegetables with it. I had to cut the vegetables up.
I've made are you talking like potatoes and carrots? And,
celery,
Yeah,
like a
I've done that
pot
from
roast.
scratch. Yeah, I've done all that from scratch before.
Okay. Have you ever made chili from scratch?
Have
Like
you
not
ever...
using a chili powder pack.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I've never done
No.
that.
Why would you?
And I have to
Why would
admit
you?
that McCormick's chili powder
It's the best.
is everything that you would,
It's
if
what
you
you
were
would
going
put
to
in
mix up
anyways.
your own spices, it's the same thing.
It's like
Yes.
taco season.
That is
Why
homemade
would
to
you
me.
not?
So I do say,
Why would you not?
I do say that I do that too. I don't do the spices from scratch. Have you ever made meatloaf?
I just made meatloaf
For the
2
first
nights ago.
time?
Not for the first time, but like I used a different sausage and meat mixture. And so
Was it good?
Not really.
I did once a long time ago, and
Yeah.
it's not my specialty.
Yeah. Have you ever made potato salad with mayonnaise, like a mayonnaise potato salad? So,
I haven't.
okay. Have you ever made mac and cheese from scratch?
Oh, yes.
No, but my mama could make some shebang.
We're not talking about your mama. We are talking about
That's what it made me think of. That's what it made me think of. Hers was from scratch, and it was great.
So you can't beat
But no,
Can't beat it.
no.
As hideous as these can be, have you ever made a Jell-O salad?
No, and I don't understand. Like at the
No.
cafeteria, why these people so
Those
who
little
eats that?
jiggly things that have
got
like
fruit in
pineapple
it?
in them and stuff.
Who eats that?
Apparently somebody, they sell them. Have you ever made a chicken pot pie from scratch?
No.
Yeah.
Marie does a great
I took
job.
it out of a Marie box one
Yeah,
time
Marie
and
does a
baked
great
it.
job.
Oh, our world has changed.
It has.
Have you ever made homemade fudge?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, I have.
It's a very simple recipe, but yes, I have.
Okay, good for y'all. Have you ever made cookies from scratch?
Yes.
Yes, everybody's done that. Right?
Yeah.
Have you not?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay.
I just don't have good experiences with it. I don't do it anymore.
You don't have good experiences making cookies?
Not anymore.
Bless.
I know.
Have you ever cooked a pot of dried beans?
Yes.
Like from scratch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You got to look the beans first, though. Make sure you get the bad ones out.
Lick them?
Lick them?
Look them.
What?
You look the beans. To get the bad ones out, because you can't just, like, say pinto beans.
Look at them?
You pick the bad ones out. It's called looking the beans.
I thought you said licking the beans. I was
No,
like,
you lick them.
I ain't never heard that either.
You pick, the bad ones are like the ones that are, you don't just pour the whole bag in. You got to look them first.
I pour the whole bag in.
You got to pull the bad ones out. You ain't looking your beans, Candy.
that made me
Look
explain
at
a
my
lot
beans.
of Candy right
You need to
there.
lick your
She ain't
beans,
looking
Candy.
the beans.
Good grief.
Oh, have you ever cooked a pot of greens?
Yes.
No.
I
So
have too, and
disappointing.
it's a lot of trouble.
For what you get out of it, like when
The
you put
washing,
it in the pot,
you got to wash it. That you got to look the greens.
Yeah, you gotta look them greens. That
I
looking's
feel like you're
annoying.
making fun of me, and that's a real thing. But I'm going to let it slide. Because I'm hoping you'll make me some spaghetti sauce.
I'm going to teach you how to make spaghetti sauce. Hey, Pick Sweet. Have y'all ever heard of that brand, Pick
Yeah.
Sweet? Frozen. Make delicious greens.
They do.
Don't make them yourself. Just go buy those
Canned
Pick
ones
Sweet.
are really
now, you
good,
have to
too.
doctor them up a little bit, but they're good.
Little bouillon.
Okay. Have you ever
Homemade
made
bouillon
corn?
cube.
Homemade bouillon cube? Yeah. Have you ever made cornbread from scratch?
I don't. I think I've always used some form of a box.
Like a boxed mix.
No.
Okay. I have. I've made cornbread from scratch. Have you ever made a pie dough from scratch? No, you've never
wouldn't even know where to
rolled out
begin.
pie dough?
No.
Well, I'm a lot older than y'all. I think y'all will get to that at some point in your life. Have you ever cooked a whole turkey?
Yes.
I have not.
You have not?
I do not do the whole go buy an uncooked turkey and get all the innards out and all that. I buy a pre-cooked turkey, and then on Thanksgiving Day I heat it up.
Yeah.
Really?
I do. That's one
I'm
thing I don't.
surprised at you for
Yeah,
doing
that's one
that.
thing I don't really mess with too much.
I was probably.
I have so much other stuff to do on Thanksgiving that I just.
And it's hard to mess up a
And they're
turkey.
delicious. Oh my goodness, they're just delicious.
I was
Yeah.
very proud of I was probably 23 or 24 years old, and I was hosting life group from church at my home, and we wanted to have a Thanksgiving meal, and I was really excited. I'm like, I'm going to cook the turkey. I've never done that before. I was pretty pleased with how it turned out, but that's the only one I've ever cooked. But,
All right.
But yeah, I've done that.
Well, good for you,
It's not
Gabe.
difficult, really.
Have you ever snapped green beans and cooked them?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I have too. Have you made mashed potatoes from scratch?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever prepared a meal for 30 plus people?
No.
Not 30.
What is this? The Titanic?
About 50.
I actually have not the whole meal, but most of it. When my brother became an admiral and got his first star, I had a Navy party for him for our family,
Do
and
you
there
have
was
goldfish, like little bitty goldfish?
no, but that
snacks?
would have been a cute
That would've
idea.
been cute.
But I remember making potato salad for that many people, and deviled eggs for that many people, and baked
Ooh,
beans for
no.
that many people.
That'd be stressful.
It would be.
It was a little
You
stressful.
wouldn't enjoy
to
your own
not
party.
to not be able to run out of food. That'd be stressful.
I know. Have you ever made homemade dumplings, like for chicken and dumplings?
No.
No.
You know, at Thanksgiving we have a turkey, but my mother, before she passed away, always made chicken and dumplings to go along with our turkey, and so she taught me how to make homemade dumplings. So I make them homemade every Thanksgiving, but that's about the only time I ever make them homemade.
What is
'Cause
that, like flour? But I mean,
it's like rolling out a dough, and then you have to cut them in strips, and then I do it ahead of time and freeze them.
Yeah.
And then on Thanksgiving morning, I get my broth and the chicken and all that, and you just drop them in. You know. All right. Have you ever made pancakes from scratch?
No.
like using a Bisquick mix.
That's not from scratch.
No, then no.
Have you ever roasted vegetables in the oven instead of boiling them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the only way we cook
Me too.
vegetables.
That's the only way. The roasted vegetables, absolute best. Have you ever made homemade baked peach cobbler?
No.
Again, when you say homemade, like, I mean, it's a can of peaches that I poured into the pan and covered it with flour and sugar. I feel like that is homemade.
We're going to give you a win on that one.
Yeah.
Have you ever made banana pudding from scratch?
I use a pudding mix. I like so many of my things, store-bought bananas, but I cut them up.
You mean you didn't grow those bananas yourself?
I'll give you that one too. Have you ever made homemade tuna or chicken salad?
I've made homemade chickens, but again,
I didn't catch the tuna myself.
I bought it with a rotisserie chicken, and I pulled it apart.
Every time I ask these questions, y'all just look at me with these hilarious looks like I'm really embarrassed to say this.
I know, because I feel like, wow, I have disappointed myself and everybody. I can't even make chicken
Your poor
salad.
family, your poor husband has to eat store-bought peaches. I can't believe it.
Oh, my word.
That's hilarious.
The nerve.
Have you ever fried fish?
Yes.
Yeah, my husband
That I
loves to
caught
fish, so
myself.
we've done that. For real? I've never done any I've caught myself, but
Oh,
my
yeah.
husband's caught it.
Okay. Have you ever made homemade baked beans? Like, in other words, you didn't pour them out of a can.
No.
I make a really
I make
good
killer
homemade
baked beans.
kind with cans.
I have to say, I haven't either. I take the baked beans in the can, but then I doctor them like crazy.
I don't even know
Oh,
what
yeah.
beans you would use. Like, if you had to go out and buy dry beans for baked beans,
I honestly don't either.
what would you get?
Bushes, why are you going to fix something that ain't broke?
Thank you.
Bushes grilling beans.
You mean when
Get
you
you
don't-
that Southern Pit barbecue, doctor them up. People going to be licking their lips all day.
If I had to go to the store right now and buy beans to make homemade baked beans, I know there's probably some form of brown sugar involved,
I think you just go to
but I
the.
don't know the beans. You get like lima beans,
The teenagers
navy
stocking the
beans.
shelves ain't going to know if you
No.
ask them for help, so
No, they're
we're just in a
not.
mess.
You just go out to your
Google.
garden in the backyard in the bushes section.
Oh, my word.
We do have bushes at my house, but they're not beans.
All right, here's a good one I'd like to know from you two. Have you ever made ice cream from scratch?
So,
No.
those electric ones you plug in, I ain't churned the butter myself, but
That's what I'm
had
talking
it.
about. Like you
can get
you
those
have to
little things you
do
plug
the
in
milk
and
and the
do-
vanilla, and
Yeah.
you add all that, and
Salt.
then
Oh,
you
yeah.
pour it
Rock
in with
salt
the
or
rock
whatever.
salt. Have you done that?
yeah, it's done at the
Yeah.
beach before.
I've
Yeah.
I've never done it, but I've had it, and it's real good.
Okay. Have you ever made jam or jelly from scratch? I have not.
No, I hadn't. done
No.
Now this question will prove how good of a cook you possibly could be. Have you ever zested an orange or a lemon, or do y'all even know what that means?
that. Yes, I have.
I have two, actually, a lemon.
Well, I am impressed.
A recipe called for it, and I had to Google what it meant, but then I could do it.
So you
I
now
had no
know
idea. No,
you know what zesting means. Then
I do now.
Do you have a zester?
Well, I use
Like
like
a-
a cheese grater, like the real fine side.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting toward the end of these questions here. Have you ever made grits from scratch?
No.
I haven't either.
How do you make
What,
grits
you
from
go buy some
scratch?
dry grit?
That's what I'm like, how do you... I mean, I have powdered stuff, and my little Quaker makes them for me in the powder, and I add things to them.
Again, if it ain't broke, why you going to go on and fix it?
Right?
Oh,
Spend your time doing something
have you,
else of
Melody
worth.
Bone?
no, I use Quaker, the little packages too.
I feel like that is homemade. When you put it in there, you gotta... If you have to add something to it, it's homemade.
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
if you have to open a box and tear the top of a package off, it ain't homemade. But that's just me.
I disagree.
Have you ever made an omelet?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that I believe her.
She just doesn't want to be left out.
We answered that question too fast, Gabe. Honestly, Candy, have you ever made an omelet?
I feel like I tried, but it turned more into like scrambled eggs. But kinda.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Have you ever made a homemade pizza? That
No.
means you have to roll the dough out and
No.
Wouldn't even know where to begin.
all right. Have you ever
Well, she's making us feel good about ourselves.
Oh, I know, right?
all right, this is the last question, has nothing to do with food. But have you ever lived in a house where you did not have a dishwasher?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
For most of my life growing up.
Because if you're cooking from scratch, you
got a
need a
bunch of
dishwasher.
dishes.
Oh, I know. I was the dishwasher.
Yes. My mother used to always say the signs of a good cook is someone who cleans up their dishes as they go along. Like, in other words, if you use a pan to saute something, then you stop and either rinse it out and put it in the dishwasher, or if you don't have a dishwasher, you go ahead and
That
clean
would
it.
never be done.
Your mother
So
would be
that at
real
the-
disappointed in me.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like that. Like I have everything everywhere, and then I clean it up at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, well, I think that we can all pretty much say that I am a big homemade cook. I do a lot of these. Gabe, you're middle of the
30%.
road, and Candi, forget it, honey. You just
Come on.